Welcome back to my top 50 games of all time, and thanks to everyone who became a patron of the channel so that we could reach the goal for this video. Today I'm sharing my numbers 45 to 40 favourite games of all time. If you want to buy any of them, there are links below, and make sure to subscribe to see the rest of this list. And number 45 is a game I ignored for a long time because it looks boring and sounds stupid, but it's not. So I'm warning you now, like a child who won't brush their teeth, one day you're going to wish you listened to me, and you'll think of this moment and you'll laugh. And the person opposite you will recoil in horror at your open mouth. The game is called Broom Service, and at its heart, it's a risk-taking game. You're a witch, because of course you are, and you're trying to collect potions and deliver them to get points. Every round you pick which actions you want to do, but nothing is certain, because when it comes to taking the action, you decide whether to be brave or cowardly. If you're brave, you get more stuff. If you're collecting potions, for example, you get 3, instead of only 1 for being cowardly. But if someone else takes that brave action after you, you lose your winnings. That action was wasted. Being cowardly means you get less stuff, but at least you can't lose it. It's such a fun choice every time, trying to guess if you can risk being brave and trying to work out who else might have that card in their hand and are just waiting to scupper your plans. And then the suspense of seeing if you made the right choice. When you plan your actions, you can look at the board, look at what the other players want and try to read their minds as to what they'll pick. If you can fly under the radar, do the actions that no one else is doing, that's how you get ahead. The reveal for every action, watching as someone sweats out the choice, and then seeing players lose their winnings. It's such an entertaining game to be a part of, even when it's not your turn. And number 44 is Blue Lagoon, a tile-laying game from Reiner Knizia. I love this one because of how simple the game is on its surface, but how deep it feels. That's not a joke about lagoons, it really is like that. Every turn, you only place 1 tile as you settle your people on these islands. And the tough decision is where to place, because there are a few ways to score points, and you want to aim for all of them at once. You get points for having the most tiles on an island, and for being on all islands, and for having a continuous path connecting multiple islands, and for collecting resources. And the game makes you believe you can achieve it all. The trouble is, everyone else is getting in your way, blocking off your path. So, do you race to pick up resources before anyone else gets them? Or do you race to hold the vital middle ground so you don't get cut off from where you want to go? I love getting close to what I need, but not taking it yet. If someone tries to come near and grab it, then I'll take it. But I want them to waste their time trying first. I feel like an octopus with each arm hovering over a different cookie jar. Or fish paste, I guess. But eventually, I hover over so many good things that I can't defend them all in one turn. It's amazing how important placing 1 small tile onto a board each round can feel. That's the Reiner Knizia magic. It's very similar to his games Through the Desert and Babylonia, and I love them too, but I just slightly prefer the simplicity and bright theme of Blue Lagoon. It's a tactical wolf in sheep's clothing. And why shouldn't wolves have soft fluffy coats? My number 43 is a game that has dropped down 20 places in my top 50, Magic Maze. Not because I suddenly hate the game, but I think the pandemic has meant I haven't got to play loads of my favourites for such a long time, and the memories of some games have faded for me more than others. In Magic Maze, you're working together to rob a shopping mall, and then escape in time, because you're playing against a timer. You really have to work together, because when moving a character, each player controls a direction. So only I can move them this way, and only they can move them this way. And it's a maze, see title. So to get anywhere, you'll have to be pitching in constantly. And the best bit is that you can't talk. You have to watch the board closely and know when it's your time to help. But with so much going on, you'll miss stuff, like flipping over the timer before it runs out. And that's how you lose. My love for real-time games has waned a little over the years, and Magic Maze is the only one that remains in my top 50. That's because it's intensely collaborative. You have to work together. And that makes the payoff when you finally win feel so great. It's like a team building exercise at work, except it's fun, and you aren't doing it with people you can't stand. Number 42 is a game that won't be on many top 50 lists. It's Sons of Anarchy: Men of Mayhem, and it is so much better than you would expect it to be. It's a game where you get to play at being rival criminals. You're trying to make the most money for your motorcycle gang by running guns and selling drugs and dropping in at various criminal spots around town. If someone else's gang shows up at the Irish tattoo place at the same time as you have a fight. Or maybe you don't. Maybe one of you pays the other one to get lost and leave them to their business. I love a game with bribes and good old-fashioned meddling, and that's Sons of Anarchy. You can trade money, drugs, and guns with each other. You can make promises. You can break promises. You can work with your fellow criminals, or you can be a prick. I like giving guns to one player if they promise to use them on another. I guess I'm a prick. If a gun is fired, one of the bikers is going to hospital, and he might not make it out alive. There's so many clever thematic touches like that to this game. Like, the more fights you get in, the more heat you have on you, so the less drugs you can get away with selling. And if you get to 4 heat, one of the characters has to take the fall, and you lose him. And yet it's a lot simpler than you might think. It has theme, but it doesn't have an endless list of rules like some games of this type. And it's not just a random luck fest. The winner is often the one who was smart, who conserved their money and flew under the radar while everyone else was at each other's throats. But it's not my favourite negotiation game. And it's not even my favourite game of being a ruthless bastard. That one is further up my top 50. Before the last game, I want to mention that we're making these videos to raise funds for the channel. Become a patron of the channel to make it be a regular thing at patreon.com/Actualol. I'll be releasing the next video in this top 50 when we hit the next goal. Number 41 has one of my favourite themes of living the best life. It's called Pursuit of Happiness, and it's like a board game version of The Sims. It's a strategy game where your action pawns represent the time you spend on things in your life. And it's such an immediate premise. I have limited time and I have to decide how to spend it. If I spend it all on activities, I might be happier, but I won't have any money to buy anything. So I take a job. Some careers are more lucrative, but they take up more time, so you literally have less time to do stuff in future rounds until you retire. It's depressingly accurate. It's fun playing out a lifestyle you would never have in real life. Like, I love seeing what it's like to be a successful YouTuber. You can have relationships and kids, which will make you happy, but take up loads of time and money. Or you can get really into your hobbies and buy a yacht. The game gives you a lot of freedom with the paths you can take, but the logic of the theme means you don't even think about the strategy underneath. The game is like any other. You need to collect resources to convert into points, and you need to find cards that work well with each other to get ahead. But I don't see it like that because it's easier to follow the theme. If I pursue activities that give me loads of knowledge, then I should get a science job to make the most of that. If I get a high-paying career, it's worth finding a partner who likes money. It makes perfect sense. Unfortunately, they don't have a partner card that's attracted to someone who doesn't have money or knowledge, which upsets my wife because she doesn't feel represented. A lot of games give you that nice feeling at the end of having built something, and I really enjoy looking back at this life I briefly lived and deciding what I could have done differently. It turns out the answer is never, I should have backed more games on Kickstarter. Those were my top 45 to 40 games of all time. There are links to buy them in the description. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe to see more board game recommendations. I'm John Perkis, thanks for watching.